Here's what's moving today across AI, the markets, and geopolitics. We give you the headline first, then the full breakdown on each. From Rewrite, here are today's highlights. China is advancing domestic artificial intelligence capabilities through major funding for chip designer Shanghai Enflame Technology, nationwide AIDA. SpaceX completed its initial public offering this week, positioning Elon Musk toward trillionaire status while triggering significant portfolio rebala. Apple announced Apple Intelligence, an on-device AI system integrating custom silicon and generative AI capabilities into iOS 18, iPadOS 18, and macOS. Experts are flagging serious concerns about the Pentagon's PM-WANI Wi-Fi initiative, warning that implementation loopholes and delayed timelines could. Here's the full picture. China is advancing domestic artificial intelligence capabilities through major funding for chip designer Shanghai Enflame Technology, nationwide AI data center infrastructure built on Chinese semiconductors, and Huawei's expansion of its proprietary Ascend chips. This reflects Beijing's effort to reduce dependence on US technology amid escalating trade tensions. The transmission flows from chip cycle through supply chain into device demand and equities markets. Winners include China's artificial intelligence sector, which announced a $295 billion investment plan to establish dominance. Losers include Japan's major chemical manufacturers facing potential production halts on tungsten hexafluoride due to China's export controls, and Chinese investors excluded from SpaceX and OpenAI IPOs under US regulatory restrictions. In the base scenario, Alibaba navigates existing restrictions while China maintains AI investment. The tail scenario triggers comprehensive US-China tech decoupling, mass delistings, and Japan's chemical sector severing China ties. As protection measures co-occur with calls for action on both sides, the forward read depends on whether regulatory escalation accelerates or stabilizes. SpaceX completed its initial public offering this week, positioning Elon Musk toward trillionaire status while triggering significant portfolio rebalancing across global tech investors. The IPO demand has created a valuation spillover effect that's reshaping capital allocation worldwide. Mainland Chinese investors moved aggressively into the offering, signaling confidence in space infrastructure plays. In the present moment, SpaceX is now supplying space-based data centers, while Musk's attention spans multiple ventures simultaneously. The transmission chain runs from IPO appetite through portfolio repositioning into broader tech sector valuations. Winners include Musk himself and early SpaceX investors capturing record-level returns. Chinese fintech faces headwinds as Beijing's tighter AI governance creates a speed gap against accelerating global reference points. Base case sees the IPO scaled with Starlink growing steadily. Tail risk includes regulatory clampdowns on space infrastructure and geopolitical capital freezes in Hong Kong. The forward read suggests space-based data infrastructure becomes the next critical battleground for tech dominance. Apple announced Apple Intelligence, an on-device AI system integrating custom silicon and generative AI capabilities into iOS 18, iPadOS 18, and macOS Sequoia in 2024. Under the Digital Markets Act, Apple must allow third-party cloud service providers to interoperate with iOS and iPadOS at no cost. Apple's documentation states these edits remain on-device, encrypted, and private. Future versions iOS 27, iPadOS 27, macOS 27 Golden Gate, and watchOS 27 will feature liquid glass design and enhanced AI capabilities. Experts are flagging serious concerns about the Pentagon's PM-WANI Wi-Fi initiative, warning that implementation loopholes and delayed timelines could undermine the program Congress has shaped. The transmission chain runs directly through Pentagon planning and congressional oversight, with both institutions now facing pressure. The Pentagon loses credibility on execution, while Congress confronts funding timeline debates that signal internal uncertainty about deployment. In the base scenario, PM-WANI rolls out incrementally as Pentagon pilots test shaped spectrum allocations and Congress works through funding questions. The tail risk is sharper. Spectrum interference could halt the entire program, triggering Pentagon security concerns that prompt a regulatory clampdown and force Congress to mandate a full infrastructure overhaul. Evidence remains insufficient to project which path emerges. Watch whether Congress and Pentagon align on funding by next quarter. That alignment will determine whether PM-WANI becomes operational or stalls. Want to go deeper? The neural web shows you who's connected to whom. The signal board ranks what's actually moving and why. And the daily briefing is your 5-minute read. It's all live. Start at rewrite.io.